Hi, my name is Dr. Nagekoda, Assistant Professor in Chemistry, Government Postgraduate College, Ramnagar. In this session, we are going to discuss about the synthesis of the nanomaterials. In the last session, we are discussed about the definition or what are nanomaterials and what are the properties and types of nanomaterials, and as well as the preparation of nanomaterials. We have totally 5 methods for the preparation of nanomaterials. In that last session, I given sol gel synthesis as well as inert gas condensation and mechanical alloying method, plasma synthesis and electrodeposition. We have total 5 methods for the preparation of the nanomaterials. And that we are discussed in the last session 2 methods. One is sol gel synthesis, another one is the inert gas condensation method. Now remaining 3 methods we are going to discuss here for the preparation of the nanomaterials. First, let us see about the mechanical alloying or high energy ball milling methods of the synthesis. Here the mechanical alloying or high energy ball milling methods of synthesis. Mechanical alloying andre we are going to make it for the production of the materials, or high energy ball milling and we are going to use high energy for making the balls using that mills. That's we can call it as a ball milling methods for the synthesis of the nanomaterials. In a ball milling process, the raw material powder is placed in the ball mill. That's whatever the materials we have to prepare. Actually, that metal oxides we have to kept in that ball mill with respect to high energy collision from the balls. High energy collision means we are going to supply the high energy for the collision of that balls. It was found that this method is termed as a mechanical alloying. That means we are going to make it for the high energy and produce the uniform dispersion of the raw materials or oxide particles. For example, aluminum oxide, yttrium oxide or thorium oxide we are going to use for the materials, and also more conventional metallurgical methods. Metallurgical method in the means we are going to use for the powder metallurgy method. We know that metallurgy, what is metallurgy. Now in this innovation we are changed the traditional method which production of materials is carried out. In this research what we did, actually we have already traditional method that we are going to change it to high temperature synthesis. That's nothing but whatever the method is there, that we are going to change the production of the materials with respect to high temperature synthesis. That's what we are going to get actually. In that particular case, here what is that high energy synthesis or high energy form? Now look at here. Now the synthesis of high energy ball milling is the modification the conditions of it's whatever the already chemical reactions are there. You know that chemical reactions are going to take place by changing the reactivity of milled solids or mechanical activation, increasing reaction. We have so many methods for the alter the reactions. In that we can change the reactivity, we can change increasing the reaction rates, lowering the reaction temperature, or ground the powders, or by inducing chemical reactions during milling, or that's whatever we have, etc. So many methods we are going to use for the preparation of the nanomaterials by ball milling methods. It's what is that here. Now we are going to use for the first step inducing phase for the transformation. That is, what is that inducing phase means andre transformation in that starting powder whose particles having this all the chemical composition. Starting we are going to use for the oxide materials or raw materials, that we are going to make it for the same chemical composition. That means amorphization or polymorphic transformation of the compound. What is that? Amorphization means we are going to make it for the uniform size and uniform composition. And polymeric transformation compound means we have poly means so many compounds, we are going to convert it into one. That is nothing but disordering of ordered alloys. That's nothing but what we can call it as a using this all we can make it for the common things. That's what we are going to get actually here. Based on this, during this high energy ball milling process, the powder particles are subjected to high energy impact. That it means microstructurally the mechanical alloying process can mainly divided into four stages. That's whatever the compounds we are going to prepare, that's mainly we can classify it into four stages. First one is initial stage, intermediate stage, final stage, as well as the completion stage. Initial stage we are going to take the proper mixing of the raw materials or oxides. Intermediate stage means then we are going to make it for the high energy collision of that raw materials. Then whatever the collided particles are there, they are going to convert it into or dispersed as a particles, nanoparticles. And completion stage we are going to make it for the final compounds. That's what we are going to get actually, that we can call it as a completion stage. That's what we are going to get actually. In that particular case here, high energy ball milling process has attracted much attention. Here that's nothing but here what is that, the whatever the high energy ball milling techniques are there, it's the most wanted or interesting method for the are inspired to the numerous or plenty of research research interests or research field, because we are going to get good results or promising results, various applications, because that's what we are going to get interest. Why we are going to get interested here now, we are going to get various applications in the field of scientific values. The synthesis of nano materials like metal oxides for gas detection is one of the most among whatever the methods are there. In that, gas detection is one of the most promising application of the high energy ball milling. That's what we are going to get actually here. Based on this, the example we can take it here, the metastable a iron metal oxide, iron oxide combination with the metal oxide. M stands for titanium or tin, we can indicate it in the form of S. That is, this is metastable metal oxide solid solutions by high energy milling for the methyl alcohol detection. That means the alcohol detection. That's what we are going to get actually. This is what we can call it as a the ball milling methods, or that's nothing but the high energy ball milling methods for the compounds or mechanical alloying. That's what we are going to get actually here. Based on that, plasma method of synthesis, the thermal plasma here, the plasma method of synthesis, we know that plasma we are going to get for the blood samples here. Thermal plasma can deliver the energy to vaporize. We are going to use it as a plasma as a to get the energy to vaporize the small micrometer size particles. We are going to use for the raw materials, it's in the form of micrometer, that have to convert it into the nanomaterials. Here what is the role, we are going to make it for plasma method of synthesis. Here now the plasma is used for to give the energy or to supply the energy to vaporize these micrometer size particles. The thermal plasma temperature here, whatever the compound plasma we are going to get actually, the temperature of the plasma, thermal plasma in order to 10,000 Kelvin, so that 10,000 Kelvin it's very high temperature, so that the solid powders easily evaporates, because in that 10,000 Kelvin, that whatever the powders we are going to supply for that, they are easily going to convert it into the evaporates. In that, nanoparticles are formed upon cooling. That is nothing but while heating, they are going to get converted into evaporation. But the nanoparticles are formed by upon cooling while existing the plasma region. A plasma region we are going to make it for the cooling. In that way, that time we are going to get for the nanoparticles. The main types of the thermal plasma used for the production of nanomaterials are that whatever the plasma, we have different methods. In that we are going to use for DC plasma jet, DC arc plasma, and radio frequency induction plasmas. These are the different methods we are going to use for the production of nanomaterials by plasma method for the synthesis. That's what we are going to get actually. In the arc plasma reactors, we can go for here now the what is that, the plasma reactor. The energy necessary for the evaporation and reaction is provided by an arc formed between the anode and the cathode. In that particular case, here the plasma arc reactor, the energy necessary for evaporation of the reaction, andre yav compounds we are going to make it for the raw materials, it is supply to the energy to get the evaporated, to provide the electrical arc formed between the anode as well as the cathode. You know that what is anode as well as the what is cathode. Anode having a negative charge and cathode having a positive charge. In that case, for example, you can take it here now, the silica and sand can evaporate with an arc plasma at atmospheric pressure. For example, we are going to make the temperature, but in that we are going to use for arc plasma atmospheric pressure is sufficient for the silica and sand can be vaporized with an arc plasma at atmospheric pressure, or thin aluminum wires can be vaporized by exploding wire method. We are going to use for R. Thin aluminum wires can be vaporized by, we can use different materials having a different methods, like that silica and sand we can use for the atmospheric pressure, and aluminum wires we can use for the exploding wire method for the vaporization. That's the first stage. After that, resulting mixture of the plasma gas and silica vapor can be rapidly cooled by quenching with oxygen. That whatever the reaction mixtures, they are going to get converted into the vapor that can be rapidly or suddenly or intensely cooled with oxygen by quenching. Quenching, you know already that quenching is nothing but we are going to make it for the rapid cooling of the material or sudden cooling of the material. That's what we are going to get actually. Here suddenly we have to cool in that solution in the, and that ensuring the quality of the formed silica produced. Here nothing but here we have to recheck the quality of that whatever the compound is produced. In radio frequency method, induction plasma torches, that's also one more method. Energy coupling to the plasma is accompanied through the electromagnetic field generation by the induction coil. We have one more method actually, that's the radio wave frequency we are going to use for in that electromagnetic field generated by the induction coil. Now here only you remember one more thing here now, the plasma gas does not come in contact with the electrodes, that at any time the plasma does not going to connect with the electrodes, that eliminating possible sources of contamination and allowing the operation wide ranges gas including inert, reducing, oxidizing and other corrosive atmospheres. That addition to that giving the evaporation energy, the plasma is making for avoiding the operation or contamination with respect to the inert gas, reducing gas, oxidizing gas or other corrosive atmosphere. Other corrosive atmosphere andre anything that going to cause damage for the materials. The working frequency is typically between 2000 kilohertz to and 40 millihertz. That's what you're going to get actually. That's the working range. We can select in between anywhere. But in laboratory units run at power level in the order of 30 to 50 kilowatt, whereas we're going to use for the large scale industry units have been tested at the power levels up to the 1 million watts. That's what we are going to get actually here now. We are going to use for the 1 million watts for the synthesis. These are the two methods for the preparation of the nanomaterials. That's what we are going to get actually. The next we can go for at the residency time of injected feeds. That's what we are going to get actually. We are going to inject that droplets in the plasma is very short at the residence time of the in that plasma method. That's what we are going to get actually. The plasma is very short. That speed the droplets is very short, right? It's a less time. It's going to take for less time. It's important that the droplet sizes are small enough in order to obtain a complete evaporation. That's whatever the droplets you're going to make it for the plasma analysis, that should be very small because we have to get complete evaporation. If droplet is more, it takes more time to convert the evaporation. That's what we're going to get actually. That we have to make it now here. The radio frequency plasma method has been used to synthesize different nanoparticles. Here now, that's what we are going to use. That is a different method. Here we are going to use for radio frequency plasma method has been used to synthesize different nanoparticles, different nanomaterials. For example, synthesis of ceramic nanoparticles. You know that ceramics in that industrial materials such as oxides, carbides, oxides irbodu, carbides irbodu and nitrides of titanium as well as the silicon. That's all we can prepare from the radio frequency wave plasma method. That's what we are going to get actually. This is the method for the plasma method for the synthesis of that particular compound. That's what we are going to get actually. And next we go for the electrode deposition. You know that name itself indicating actually electrode deposition. Using that current, we are going to measure the current that compounds are going to deposited on that electrodes. That we can call it as a electrode deposition. The deposition of the ion is material is directly proportional to the amount of the current you are passed. The synthesis of various nanomaterials, not for such as the nanometer particles, nanofoils, nanowires of the costly metals like gold, platinum, nickel, cobalt, iron, silver, etc. You can take any kind of metals you want actually. By these techniques, by electrode deposition techniques. In that particular case here now, in that electrode deposition technique, we have both the potentiostatic and galvanostatic methods. Here potentiostatic is nothing but we are going to measure the voltage, that whatever the amount we are going to supply in that process to the compounds are going to get deposited, that we can call it as a potentiostatic. And one more is nothing but it's the galvanostatic. We are going to measure the current. Methods were only two methods in that what is that electrode deposition we are going to use for the electrostatic and galvanostatic methods were employed to carry out the electrode deposition process under different potential ranges, time durations and current density. We can change here now. We can take here different methods. First one is different potential ranges. We are going to take the voltage from here to here. We can fix certain range. Time duration the term reactions are going to take place in the fast, some reactions are going to take place in slow, or we have to fix the time duration, how much time we require for the formation. And current densities, we are going to supply the current for that particular compound here, that's also we are going to fix. Actually we can make it for that particular compound. In that particular chemical, how we are going to make it for the, that is the current duration or potential or time duration. In that electrochemical behavior of the deposited nanoparticles, once we are going to supply the current, voltage or time, the nanoparticles are going to deposited on that electrodes. Here that depending upon the electrochemical behavior of the deposited nanoparticles, we are investigated by that whatever the behavior of nanoparticles, we are going to substrates, we are going to deposit determinated or investigated by the cyclic voltammetric or chronoamperometric techniques. Cyclic voltammetry is nothing but we are going to measure the voltage, and chronoamperometric method is nothing but we are going to measure current. That's nothing but based on that measurement of voltage or current, we can use for the types of the nanometricals using that techniques. Now that's what we are going to get actually. In addition to that, here the particular example for the synthesis of the nanoparticles, here now the synthesis of monodispersed gold. Here we are going to prepare for the synthesis of nanodispersed gold nanoparticles on indium tin oxide. Look at here, now we have different kinds of nanoparticles. First one is monodispersed gold, that means mono means single layer, singly dispersed gold, or nanoparticles on indium tin oxide coated glass. Nanoparticles indium tin oxide coated glass. Here that's what your glass can coated with the indium tin oxide. Preparation of gold nanorods or nanoporous anodic aluminum oxide. Preparation of the nano gold rods from the aluminum oxide, that is nothing but we are going to get for the nanoporous anodic aluminum oxide. Nano means you know that 10 to the power of minus size, and as well as porous, we have little bit space or gap between the formation of gold nano, that is nano clusters on polyprofile modified glass carbon electrode. Here the formation of gold nanoclusters on polyprofile modified glass carbon electrode, and one step electrode deposition of nickel nanoparticle chains with combined with the titanium oxide. That's what we are going to get actually. These are all the methods, these are all the compounds we can prepare by the electrode deposition. That's what we are going to get. These are the three methods for the preparation of the nanoparticles. Finally, we will go for the applications of the nanoparticles. Here we have plenty of, nowadays the recently we can use plenty of applications for the nanomaterials. We are going to prepare for every field. We can go for computer field or pharmaceutical field or any other field. Will prefer our pollution control board or whatever the things we are going to apply. We have plenty or numerous applications of nanomaterials in that nowadays. That's just we have. Let's take a look at the list now. We have the next generation computer chips. Here what you are going to get actually, we are going to get for this computer monitor. It should be very less. Earlier it's big, nowadays it's small. In future it will become actually just like a very small. And batteries, mobile smartphones, that's all next generation computer chips. And kinetic energy penetrated with the enhanced lethality, kinetic energy penetrators. We are going to supply the kinetic energy proportion increasing. Better insulation materials. Insulation materials we have already know. We can use for little bit thinner or just like a layer that's in future. Phosphorus for high definition TV, you know that HD TVs, in that way containing phosphorus, we are going to use for phosphorus for high definition TV. And low cost flat panel displays. Low cost, that's nothing but the flat panel discuss andre, that's what is that. Tougher and harder cutting tools, we are going to use for nanometricals for tougher and harder cutting tools. And elimination of pollutants, that's what I told actually, we are going to remove the pollutants from the water or air, that's all we are going to use for the pollution control board. High energy density batteries, that's what we are going to use for the, nowadays we are going to use for mobile, it's a 5000 microammeter. Earlier the battery is durability is very less, nowadays we can use for 1 day or 2 day, like that we are going to use for high energy density batteries. High power magnets, high sensitivity sensors, that means what you are going to get actually. Automobile with greater fuel efficiency, in that automobile field we are going to use for the nanomaterials with having a high fuel efficiency, because here we are what you are going to get actually. And aerospace components with enhanced performance characteristics, that aerospace is nothing but we are going to use for the elements, that's what we are going to get actually, that's all we can use for. These are the plenty of applications or wide applications of the nanomaterials. Thank you.